Now we come to the serious part. So for the next 5 hours, you will hear me. No? Okay. For the next 45 minutes, max. So let's start really to give you an update. What's going on in TAPA? What's new? What is important? What is not important? We have too many clickers here. So what do we, as your executive team, as your people, working full-time to drive TAPA really in Europe, Middle East, and Africa to the next level? So what are we doing right now for you to build and make it better and create more benefits? If you look at TAPA, over the last 26 years, as already said, our goal is always to grow across all areas of TAPA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And we always been here, and the team is always looking to what can we do better, to make your life easier on a day-by-day perspective. So what is really needed, as I said already, to make your life on the best way and to mitigate your risk? So first of all, we build something, okay? Build means really that we need more data, okay? So think about a house, think about your platform, think about, your different pillars and everything. We create more TAPA standards. We create more certifications. We give you more trainings. We give you more training support. And with more members and the network, you have a better opportunity, which means you can learn, you can listen. And what is one of the most important things? You always need to learn. You always need to improve. Make failures, make mistakes, okay? I will be very quick in some of my updates, but numbers are speaking on themselves, okay? So I don't need to read the numbers. But I think what is quite important is especially intelligence. We have law enforcement agencies here in the room from more than 20 European countries. We have a special breakout session from Europol later on here in the Metronome Theater, which is focusing on discussing what's going on in the law enforcement agency world with the industry representatives. But what is also quite important, we have more intelligence, we have more data, and if you look at the data, if you look at the growth of the data, of course, with the growth of the data, more responsibility is there. But the good news is you have more transparency, you have more visibility, it makes your life easier, you do not need to reinvent the wheel. There's one downturn always, we need to rely on you. You need to share data. Because this is your solution. It's not my solution, it's not our solution, it's not a TAPA solution, it's the membership solution. And that's also quite important. And if you look at data intelligence, I must say at this point, I could continue talking about the numbers, but I think it's more useful now to really bring an expert here to the stage. Wait a second. Tapatron, are you with us?
I've been listening the whole time. You didn't think I'd miss the annual general meeting, did you?
I was hoping you wouldn't, but in some cases, for those of you who don't know you, okay, please can you introduce yourself?
I'm Tapatron. I work with the TAPA EMEA team, keeping an eye on supply chains and making sure cargo crime has a harder job than it would like.
Okay, then I ask you a direct question, okay? When you see all these numbers, what do you think about the numbers?
I can only conclude that we're not dealing with isolated incidents here. This is systemic, and it affects everyone in the chain.
Exactly. That is the most important point. It's not one company, it's not one industry, it's everybody within the supply chain. So that's really super, super, super important. And it's happening to all of us.
Today, virtually all products moving in supply chains are targets for cargo thieves, and criminals know your routes, your weak points, and internal processes. So the question is no longer if your supply chain will be the target of crime, it's how well prepared you are when criminals strike.
Absolutely. And don't forget, all data is based only on your information. We have a team, a dedicated team, only looking that all data is neutralized. There's no company information inside. You don't know what kind of brand it is, what logistics service provider, whatever. And everything is linked to your expertise. What we do is we collect it, we put it in a nice format. And the goal is, of course, also, to get more transparency. The second pillar, very important, our standards, the heart. Okay, this is how TAPA started 26 years ago with the FSR standard. Our TAPA standard, as you can see, over the last 5 years, FSR grew by more than 40%, TSR 62, PSR more than 143%. I would like to say a special thanks also to DHL Express, because they have 500 FSR certified warehouses here in the world. So a special thanks to them. But I must say also, FSR is popping up like crazy. We see an interest everywhere. So let's go to another number, which is a really impressive number. More trainings. We trained over the last 5 years. We have an increase of more than 1,000%. We trained more than 3,000 industry professionals in 12 months. So we delivered more than 3,000 trainings. So far, so good. The goal is always to have more members. And more members means a greater networking opportunity, more intelligence, more data. You can spread the network, and we can make life easier also to share the costs. That's also quite important. We have more standard certifications. We have more potential intelligence sources. So with every new member we onboard to the association, we will get better and get stronger. And that's really super important, because this is now the next one. How can we even get better? So within the industry, and when you fight against criminals, there's one point which is super important. There is no finish line. This is not a 100-meter race. This is even not a marathon. And if you'd like to have a run tomorrow morning at 6:30, meet Ionel Popper and the running team, the TAPA running team, and he will run with the TAPA running team for 5K. The only reason why he is doing it, because he would like to be the fastest guy. That's the only reason, to be honest. No, but really, it's very important. Our simple goal for the entire team is to get better every day. Everything what we deliver, we would like to deliver better. Everything, everything what we do right now is where we would like to be better. I still remember 10 years ago, we had nearly no pharmaceutical companies. Now we have the top 20 as members. Automotive, you just saw Andreas. It took me 1 year to get Volkswagen on board. Now it's Volkswagen, Porsche, MAN, Audi, BMW, Volvo, they're all members. So that's really quite important, because again, the industry is under attack. And we are growing every single month. Every single month. Better also means, behind the scenes, we are optimizing our full-time resources. We are optimizing our teams. We look for people which are perfectly fitting into our core responsibilities, and where we find the right, really, next generation also to say, what do we need to do? AI is a buzzword, I know, but listen to Tapatron, and I will show you a lot of stuff over the next 2 days. We invest heavily as a TAPA EMEA association into AI solutions. Heavily into AI solutions. What is also important is we need your support. I know that I'm saying it to the wrong people right now, okay? Because all of you sitting here, you paid your membership dues. All of you. But here's one thing. With growth comes responsibility. And if you look at it now, we have a little bit more than 1,100 member companies. We have, in total, 1,900 member representatives when we talk about LEAs, associate partners, and so on. But corporate members, we have a little bit more than 1,100. If you have 10% non-pairs, it's a little bit more than 100 companies. So we will establish a very strong finance process. And there's a company which is called a debt collecting company. So if you receive a letter from them, it means that you are too late with your payment, because normally you receive the letters from us. Update your data in my TAPA. When a person is leaving, remove this person, replace it with another one. You can have 3 representatives as an SSP2. Always ensure that you have them. If you change your email, change the email. So it's normally very easy stuff. It's not rocket science or something like that. But what is important, read our communication. Okay? Again, everybody who's here was reading the communication. The last 2 weeks, the only thing I received and the team receives, oh, Thorsten, we were not in a position to register. We forgot it and we missed the deadline. Oh, you were not in a position to register for 7 months and now you're asking to register? This is another challenge. As you can see, it's a huge venue. Wait for tomorrow, also for Topgolf. It's another huge venue. And we need to report to the organizers, to the venue holders here, the numbers. And when it's reported, it's reported. And at the second we add more, we pay a penalty. You know, we don't pay the 150 euro anymore for Topgolf, we pay 200. This makes our life difficult, so make our life easy, okay? Let's now talk about a little bit the benefits, okay? Because I'm also chair of the board of another association. It's an amazing German association, you know, but if you look at the benefits within TAPA Europe, Middle East and Africa, and in all TAPA regions, what you pay and what you get for, I'm always still saying there's no other industry association where you get all these benefits for the cost we charge you for 12 months membership fee. Okay? It's really one of the lowest membership association costs you can have. I'm not saying other ones, but I know that some industry associations, you know, are paying, or you pay them 10,000, 20,000 euro. Again, we will improve membership benefits. We work very strong to give you more stuff. One of the things what we do is, this is the main conference. This is the conference we have once a year, where we invite all members, we invite specific guests to share with you what we are doing, but also to share with you what's going on in the industry. But then we go to the field. So why do we go to the field? It's very easy, because I don't speak all languages in the world. My AI, yes, my AI is speaking all languages in the world. You know, that's the reason why we go to France and organize a regional conference and specifically focusing on France. And the conference is delivered in French. We go to Romania. Salut, ce mi faci. Why are we doing it? Because I don't speak Romanian. I love Romanians, but I don't speak Romanian. You know, and it's the same like going to Poland. I see a Polish guy already. I love the Polish guy, but I don't speak Polish. That's very easy. So we organize everything with you, because you are the eyes and the ears on the ground. Scandinavia, same stuff, okay? I understand a little bit Danish. I can give you the bad words, but that's it. The same with Italian, by the way. And you all know why. I know a little bit Italian. So that's really quite important, and we will do more in the next 12 months. Okay, we are now working with our regional leads or country leads, and this is a special big thank you to all of you, because you are doing it on a voluntary perspective. Okay, so Agna, Dario, Ionel, Harry, Peter, Felipe, thanks to all of you for all your support and more to come. That's very important. We will organize amazing regional conferences. If you are interested in to say, hey, Thorsten, can we organize a conference? We can give you a facility. And DP World is also here, somewhere. You know, and I will have a discussion with DP World later today or tomorrow that we will organize a conference in Dubai. Right now it's not. Maybe we wait a couple of days, okay? Because the temperature maybe is nice, but the rain is not always real rain. So this is, again, the biggest conference ever. And also we need to improve, we need to learn. What I must say, this was the last time that you have a registration like that. Okay, next time everything will be automated. So you come, you scan, your badge will be printed, you go. Okay, because we are too big. This is the biggest challenge. You know, if you look at the attendees, if you look at the exhibition, if you look at the networking opportunity, the party and everything, it's crazy. It's amazing. And we are growing every year, you know, in all regions. And that's the biggest benefit, you know, because if you're connecting the dots between Americas, APEC and EMEA, it's an amazing opportunity. I still remember years ago when Professor Keys asked us the question, what is your total addressable market? And what are you? What is the percentage you achieved? And we are like 1%. Now, it's different. As I told you, in some markets, we have the top 10 or the top 20 leaders. And that's perfect. That's really perfect. This is a topic, okay, I would like to ask you to raise the questions tomorrow, because tomorrow you have a special session, and Markus and the standards team will give you a complete update on everything. I know it's a hot topic, but it's a nice topic. So wake up early and raise your questions tomorrow morning. That's how easy it is, okay? And I know that some people are already, do it tomorrow morning, okay? I can give you the answer, but you don't like my answer. Wait for Marco's answer. Again, all the revisions, everything, it's a worldwide change control board, a super close cooperation with TAPA Americas and TAPA APAC. We are on schedule. We still have some discussions, but I think we can overcome these, and let's wait and see. There's an amazing interest, I don't need to read that. I think you know this, especially the members here. What are the benefits, of the certification, everything. So, but what else are we doing? So we started the TAPA podcast, the TAPA Talks. Series number 3 will come in July. I hope you will like it. The focus is really on the freight exchange platforms and everything. It's a big topic tomorrow. And you can download it everywhere. You can go to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, everything is there. And if you have an idea for a podcast, send it to us. We are happy to invite you, and we have a discussion within the podcast, with Sam, with myself. Maybe we invite a board member like Marcel or Antonio, so a subject matter expert. We will join and talk to you in a very open and easy podcast. Deep dive webinars. Okay, you will hear tomorrow from Satya and Neetu. They came all over from India. What's going on in our TIS world? What's going on with TIS and everything? So this is another major milestone. We started the TIS webinars with 60 participants. The last TIS webinar, we had 384. Okay? We even had another TIS webinar where we reached nearly 500 participants. 500 participants. And the TIS tool will give you unbelievable opportunities. Okay, I will show it to you a little bit later, but not now. But I will show you some stuff. Okay, but there's a lot of things that we will show you tomorrow. Okay, but you know what? Let me show you one little thing. Okay, so let's go live. So, when you go to the TIS tool, I hope you all know the TIS tool. You all know the TIS tool. So if you do not know the TIS tool, you will run tomorrow 5K, come back, and then you know the TIS tool, okay? Do you see the little funny guy here now in the corner? Our friend, the Tapatron. So now, it's 100% AI-generated Tapatron. So if you raise a question, the question will go to all data we have within TIS. 100%, everything. And if you say, for example now, show me a route from Hamburg to Bratislava that's optimized for truck traffic. It will show you the traffic, it will show you the truck. Now you can look at incidents. Now you can say here, okay, what does it mean? How long do I need? What is the estimated travel time? According to the European Union driver rules, by the way, you can download it immediately and it will plan you the route on the map. But that's nothing. That's only a peek view. Trust me, tomorrow we will show you stuff in the TIS tool, which is amazing. It's a completely new generation of TIS. It's called TIS 2.0. And it's an amazing thing, okay? But again, that's only a little bit what you see today. You will see everything tomorrow morning. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. And let's really focus also on the Vigilant e-magazine. I love this magazine. Every month, we will provide it to all the members. Every month, we will show you what's going on in the industry. We speak with members. We interview members. We have the brand new products. What kind of solutions are on the market? What kind of things are we doing? What kind of trainings do we start? Where's the next conference? But what we also share with you always, we welcome the new members. We say, hello, welcome. We always tell you what is behind FSR, TSR, PSR, and now also CSS. We work together. Partnership is the biggest thing. Why should I reinvent the wheel when I have a partner with another industry association who is already focusing on that? So let's connect. Let's work together. BIFA in the UK, Europol outside there. We have a special session with Europol today. German Insurance Association, long-time relationship. Why? Because they are the insurance expert. I'm not an insurance expert, so let me talk to the experts, and then it makes my life easier. And more awareness means we are presenting you and all your stuff at industry events. So myself and my team and the board is traveling now really all over Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and we go to tons of different events. Logistics fairs, conference opportunities, I will speak now at EUMI, at the International Union of Maritime Insurance. Björn and myself, we will travel to the US later this year to attend the biggest security event in the world, the GSX, and so on, and so on, and so on. As you know, I'm also for now 14 years nearly, a NATO industry expert, so I'm quite often together with the NATO guys. And that's really quite important, okay? So think about all this stuff. If you're interested in, if you know an event where you say, hey, Thorsten, TAPA needs to go there, let us know, okay? We are always happy to do something. We are always happy to come. We are always happy to speak at any industry event you would like to see us. Benefits, delivering more. It's also quite important, because you're all members of TAPA, and here in Oberhausen, you're here because you value the membership. You value the connections, you value the networking opportunity, and what you also do is really that spread the word. All of you are TAPA ambassadors. Tell your people why you are a TAPA ambassador. Spread the word. Tell them why you are TAPAized. Okay? Tell them why you are sitting here, why you spent the next 2 days in a great conference room, in an amazing venue. Okay, you have free food, you have free drinks, you have even free ice cream outside of the theater. So everything is there. Everything what you need is here. We give you drinks, we feed you, we give you entertainment. And I hope you leave and say, that's exactly what I needed. I needed this information. This is amazing. Yeah, there it is. Cargo crime. I think we all share the same goal, okay? Cargo crime, who cares? Cargo crime is not a sexy crime, okay? That's very important. Cargo crime is not a sexy crime. It's not in the media, it's not big in the news, unless there's a lot of heavily armed attacks or something like that used. Then it's even the news in Germany or in Italy or in Poland or whatever. Otherwise, you will not read it in the news. It's not a sexy crime. It's not really important for the news channels. But of course, what is quite important, it's a very high rewarded crime with a very low risk. And we know that. And criminals know that. And what the criminals especially know is that it's an easy target, okay? It's a very easy target. So let's play a short video on this one.
You plan for storms. You plan for delays. But do you plan for theft in motion? It only takes one moment for a forced door to turn into a vanished load. Because your supply chain is only as secure as its weakest link. But the solution is simple. Build resilience. Because pressure follows every mile of the journey. Movement creates openings that criminals know how to use. The theft is quick. The exits are planned. The impact travels straight down your supply chain. Because cargo crime is happening right now.
Guarda, 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 guarda.
Across Europe and beyond. Don't stay in the dark.
Use a video like that, to show it to your CEO, for example, or to show it to your people, or to show it to your, logistics guys, whatever, Because what you don't want, none of you, is this call. None of you loves this call. My product's been stolen. That's very important. Because the question now is, the easy question is, what happened, when it happened, where it happened, how it happened. But now the customer is coming to you and you know it, and he will ask you the tough questions. Why it happened? Were you compliant with all our contractual requirements? Was your truck really TAPA certified? Do you train your driver? And so on, and so on, and so on. Where do you stop? Do you use a secured parking place? Or do you stop again and lay by? Was your driver, really taking care of the load? Do you use a seal, a lock, whatever it is? So that's really quite important. And of course, at the end of the day, social media is having the turn. It's not easy, when social media is becoming involved. That's the worst situation for you when the customer is saying, hey, my latest phone did not arrive, or whatever, or my Xbox, or PlayStation, or Nintendo. I need to train all of them now, Or if you're now in the pharmaceutical industry, now what is the biggest thing in the pharmaceutical industry? It's how do you lose weight nowadays? Don't go to the gym. The modern generation is not going to the gym anymore. They buy an injection and they lose weight. So this is big in the industry. And if you cannot deliver, there's a huge challenge that you have a lot of discussions, with your people. So all of these MOs, you all know them. So all of you. So it doesn't make sense to read them. But what is important is that action always speaks louder than words. Always. And I'm always saying that, and you know that. I already said that, So, but let me give you another example. Tomorrow we go to Topgolf. So we play golf. Yeah, we are not really playing golf. Maybe you hit a ball, but it doesn't make, this is not the point. We are networking. But who's a golf player? Who's a golf player? I'm not, but I'm only asking. We have golf players? Harry, I know that you're a golf player. Oh, not a lot, okay. You have a handicap? Yes. So your handicap is 36. It's not a good handicap. How can you improve your handicap? Go to the golf course. Be active. And that's exactly what's going on here. You must be active. You must do something, okay? Because the organized criminals, and I'm sorry to say it, we can do whatever we want. The organized criminals are always at least one step ahead of us. Always. They know your supply chain as good as you know your supply chain. Minimum as good as you know it. They have better tracking devices than you do. They also have better jamming devices because you are not allowed to use them. They are allowed to use them. They are not following business ethics. They are not following code of conducts. They are not looking for, the cheapest route or whatever, because they know exactly when I can steal this truckload, I made 1 million, 3 million, 10 million, 100 million. Tax-free, by the way. In Germany, you pay 50% tax, 50. In the Netherlands, it's sometimes even 52 or something like that. So that's really quite important, okay? They pay 0 tax. They do not care. And when they steal on Monday in Belgium, the products will be on Wednesday all over the world. Do you really believe you cannot buy iPhones in Russia? Of course you can buy iPhones in Russia. That's really quite important. I need to go a little bit more here. I was close to say, hey, it's burning here, what's going on? So that's really quite important because, again, they are also using AI. They also use Copilot, or even better things because the old generation is using Copilot or ChatGPT. Talk to the young generation. They're even better stuff. By far better AI solutions. And that's really quite important. And we will show you a lot of stuff tomorrow, as I said already. So what is the outlook? And we raised questions really earlier this year to all our premier partners, to members and everything. And of course, one big thing is AI-enabled threats. What's going on? What is the risk now? What is the opportunity, but what is the risk? And the risk is crazy. As I said, you ask the nice questions to ChatGPT. They ask another nice question. For them, it's also a nice question. But it's exactly the question, not what is the best route from Hamburg to Bratislava, what is the weakest link within your supply chain? I'm not mentioning company names right now because, unfortunately, a lot of information is in the World Wide Web. Tons of information is in the World Wide Web. It's crazy. It's amazing to see it. Hybrid attacks, very important. Data manipulation. Everything is data driven. Fake carriers. It's a huge topic. It will be discussed in the Europol breakout, but it will also be discussed here. And we will announce an amazing thing already tomorrow to make life easier. So what is the outlook? We have constant risks ongoing. Constant risks. Every day is different. We always thought that when the COVID crisis came, that this is our one crisis, and then we have 20 years freedom. Everybody was saying when Russia attacked Ukraine, in 5 days, it's over. It's 5 years now. For the last weeks, we hear, there's an agreement between the US and Iran. There will be an agreement between the US and Iran. And then something else happened. Then you see something in Mexico again. Then you see something in Venezuela. Then you see something popping up in Africa. And then you see a lot of things what you don't like. If you look at the fuel prices, sometimes in the morning, I'm like, what happened overnight? I go to bed and the fuel in Germany is 1.8, €1.80, and the next morning it's €2.14. I was in California a couple of weeks ago. I lived in the US. I still remember a gallon was $2.12. Cindy's already like, Thorsten, that's 20. And then I came to California and it was $6.24. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And that's exactly what you also fight with every day, Because of course, a truck consumption is more than another consumption, So use TIS. And I'm saying it again, use TIS. Increasing data makes your life easier. And tomorrow the session will exactly show you what we mean with that. And what kind of benefits we will provide now in the next update. I told you already, there will be a lot of great stuff tomorrow. Okay? TIS is already an essential tool for all our members and everything, okay? And it's really, really used to build safe and secure supply chains.
Now, Thorsten, let me ask the uncomfortable question. What happens if companies don't share their data?
Yeah, what can I say? When you're not sharing data, the system is becoming weaker and less reliable.
So this only works if everyone plays their part.
Exactly. That's right. TIS only works when all of you are part of the TIS. See? Even TAPAtron gets it.
Because security is not a competition. It's a shared responsibility. And only if we work together, TIS can really start to benefit everyone.
That's the point. This is what we represent also to you. He was listening my entire presentation. I hope you are also like him, okay? And send me questions, and raise questions to me when you see me. New benefits. Today and tomorrow, we will already announce a lot of new benefits. And I don't want to say all of them, because the details will be today and tomorrow later with my experts. With Markus, with Nitu, with Satya, I will be joined by TransEU, by Matt, and so on and so on. But I think what is quite important really to say, we will announce something tomorrow, which is a game changer in the industry. We will roll out something, and we will also say it, there's a TSR subcontractor guidance. And again, I will be very fast because everything will be in the detail tomorrow. This is something I'm really proud of. Markus will share with you tomorrow that TAPA will provide 55,000 free driver trainings to all our members, if you look at it in total. So, which is amazing. It's an amazing benefit. And as I said already, you will hear more about that from Markus tomorrow.
Sorry, Thorsten. Before we go over and do the formal part of the AGM, I wanted to remind everyone that they can also help us to build better benefits.
Oh, you're right.
Because the best way your organization can profit from your TAPA membership is by being an active member and driving change and the evolution of TAPA EMEA. Don't forget, everything that benefits TAPA is making the lives of cargo criminals harder every day.
Thank you, TAPAtron, for your input. and for being here today.
Glad to join in anytime, especially when it helps keep cargo crime on its toes.
Okay, so now it's my pleasure to invite on stage our treasurer, Björn Hartong, to give you an update on the financial overview for last year and this year. So over to Björn. The stage is yours.
Super.
Thank you. I will be back.
You will?
No, you go.
Okay, great. So good afternoon, everybody. As part of the association, we need to present you what we've done in the last year and what we will do with your money in the coming year. As Thorsten mentioned, we've had some changes. As a result of that, you see me instead of persons you've seen in previous years. And I suggest we just go over the numbers. If we look at the 2025 outcome, our expenses and our incomes are relatively easy. We have member income, and we have some sponsors and premier partners, and that's about it on the income side. And then we spend basically all the money trying to run the show, and hopefully don't underspend or don't spend too much money. As you might recall, in 2023 and 2024, we were able to tell you that we had made a loss in the association. That was one of the reasons why we decided to reorganize our setup slightly. And this year we have made a profit, which is actually nice to hear because the profit is sort of compensating the losses from the previous years. But it's not our intention to operate as a company and actually start making a lot of money. The idea is we get money from the members, we get money from sponsors and partners, and we spend it on the benefits for the members. So what do we do in 2026? Again, we have the same sort of income. We get money from the members, and we have some sponsors. And luckily, the sponsors are already really nice to us, so we get a substantial amount of money. So if you're walking around, pay a visit to them. You don't have to personally thank them, but at least look at what they're selling. And then, of course, we have our expense side. And that's basically to keep the business running, to invest in new benefits for members, spend a lot of the income on showing and presenting the message that we have. And we've also noticed in the last few years that volunteers are very great, but their employers are no longer willing to pay a lot of travel costs, which were in the past were sort of nice to do for the members. But now we have to use, say, some of our own money to actually make sure that the volunteers can travel and attend. As you see, we expect to spend all your money, but I can already share you that there is some air in some of the expense sides. So with any luck, we will at least have a positive result, which we will be able to use next year to share for the members. Maybe to add that 2026 is for us a very expensive year because it's the year when we change the standards, which means we need to change a lot of training material, do a lot more on marketing, making sure that people understand we have new standards. So that's why normally every 3 years we have what we call a more cost-intensive year. So as mentioned, we made some changes. One of them already Thorsten mentioned. We've had a lot of members in the past that thought this was like a free membership. You get the benefits, you don't pay. We've been really nice to some companies in the last few years. That didn't really help. So now we're becoming more strict. We have a process in place. When we send the invoice, you get a reminder, and eventually, if there's no reaction, we will hand you over to, as Thorsten mentioned, a debt collector. It's not a motorcycle club, but they're a debt collecting company. Anyway, but there are a lot of companies that say, wow, we will never ever pay an invoice within 42 days. That's fine, as long as you let us know. Our company takes 200 days to pay the invoice, and then we will register it at least for you. Hopefully, that will then work out. So the existing members, we went to the debt collectors. With the new members, we've basically implemented a new program. Members in the past, new members, they became a member. They went on the online training, they did a certification, they went to the conference, and then they still didn't pay. So now we say, listen, it's a money first service. So if you want to be a member, pay, and the door's open for you. It's less friendly, but we have learned a lot in the last few years, and in all honesty, it has cost our association a lot of money by being friendly. So we are now just business-like friendly. And if you want to then rejoin, we still have something to settle with you, but that's it then now. If we then look at the current organizational focus, okay, we've changed the payment process, as I've already shared. We are having a clearer communication and reminding structure. I think that was one of the issues we've had in the past. We were sending an invoice, and 11 months later you had a reminder. That's not really working as well. We have a lot of transparency in the reporting to the members, and we consolidate by making the numbers combined. Of course, we have TAPA EMEA as an association, and then for tax purposes, we had to organize two legal entities which are in Germany and in the Netherlands. So we want to improve our budget ownership, and I really want to stress again what Thorsten mentioned. Budget ownership is not just for, say, the staff that works for TAPA EMEA, but it's also for the volunteers that want to organize something. Yes, we have probably some budget in the overall budget scheme. If you want to organize a local conference, then please feel free, and we will be able to support it financially and also from an organizational point of view. And then, of course, part of the restructuring, we are hiring somebody now full-time, which was already working with us for a while. It's Fabio. He will now be the finance controller. Because having a lot of money does mean that you have to manage it well. I have to admit, when I first became part of the board, we were maybe just about 1.5 million.
I think even less.
Even less. So as you've seen, our budget now is close to 3 million, so we have done quite a good job. And it's our intention for the board and also for the supporting team to actually spend the money for you and for making sure that supply chain security is on the agenda of a lot of people. As part of the legal requirements, we need an action from you, and I think we will work the other way around. If you don't agree to discharge us from the financial results for 2025, then please let me know and raise your hand. And I do see something out there, but I don't see anybody raising a hand. So
yeah, you can also type it into the app. But it's quite important, as said by Björn already.
Yep.
This is a very important step for the AGM, that we really now let the board have a clean book for 2025.
I don't see any hands, or it's my glasses, because I'm wearing the wrong ones, I noticed. So there's no far view, it's only short view. Right, that's it from my side.
Perfect. Thank you, Björn.
Thank you.